So we've had a few incidents that happened this week, and it kind of triggered us to talk on activism and how activism is portrayed in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so our first topic is basically activism. What is activism? And the definition that we have here is the policy or action of using vigorous campaigning to bring about political or social change. So my question to you and all the viewers out there is, how effective is activism? Do you guys think that, what do you think is the best way to go about activism? What do you think? Do you think you guys should protest? Do you think they should rally? Yes, I've already read it.
So, mine a hiccup.
Sorry, but the projector was asking me something. I'm just like, yo, do you want me to reread it? For those of you who missed what the definition was. Activism. The definition of activism is the policy or action of using vigorous campaigning to bring about political or social change. And sometimes we're in an environment where we are very uncomfortable with the setting, we are very uncomfortable with the policies, we are very uncomfortable with the regulations that they have in place, and we don't know how to go about saying, hey, this needs changing. What do you think is the best effective way to bring across that point?
I mean, to be honest, I feel it comes down to the sorry, I went on the YouTube to check the comments. I apologize. I feel like the comments from the viewers.
Hey, tonight gonna be a good show. I don't feel it coming.
I feel like
tonight gonna be good.
speaking up comes down to the individual. If let's say Ayana has a problem with the way a business is operating, she might feel, she's not a vocal person, so she might feel more comfortable drafting a letter, sending it to the board. Me now, I might be a more outgoing person, more of an extrovert, and it's like, listen here, when drafting a letter, let me go straight to
the chairman or the head.
Not really just a chairman, but let me go straight to a protest. I might say let me go straight to a protest. But I guess it goes back to just comparing the two. I feel as though we should adopt the more logical approach first, which is going to the heads of whatever you may have the issue with. Even if it's a situation of a letter or whatever, just address them properly. Head for head, like, you can't say you came at me that way, the wrong way, and that's why you got that reaction. Address me properly, and based on how you approach them, and your needs or satisfactions are not met, then that's when you could go into the whole idea of, okay, let me stage a protest.
Before we move on, do you think the most effective way is to bring it to the public's eyes?
If the problem is not dealt with, yeah, because I feel as though any administration, to be honest, feels the pressure when they're under the public, they're in front of the public's attention. And that's why you find a lot of the times when situations are not dealt with properly, a lot of people take the problems to the media and to the public.
But a lot of people skip that step, as in going to administration, some of them just go straight to the public. And expect change to come about.
So my question to the panel is extreme activism and moderate activism.
Moderate.
Well, who determines what is extreme?
That if we are, for whatever example, saying that we are in TDC today and we experienced some negative business in terms of how we were dealt with in terms of customer service, then I think that can be easily dealt with by a senior supervisor or somebody who is a senior officer to try to make that negative into a positive, and then if it's not addressed, then you could always escalate the matter to maybe to the chairman or the manager, and you start to go up the protocol if you felt like justice wasn't achieved, rather than just kind of jumping from I had a bad experience, so let me go to social media and basically trash the name or slander the name of an institution or business place by one bad experience. I think that's where the two options have to be weighed.
But before we continue, I know we're live on Facebook and on YouTube, but just a reminder, if you want your comment to be seen or heard, comment on the YouTube. Head over to YouTube and comment, because that's what I'm viewing. That's what I'm viewing right now.
And the channel is theshow.kn. So you can find us on Instagram, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on YouTube. But as Yolanda said, if you guys want your comments to be addressed, or you want us to see it, or you want to hear your opinion, go over onto YouTube and we will be sure to reply to those comments. But as Alistair was saying, I 100% agree with what you said, and I want to ask also if you guys think that we are in a society where if you stand up for what you believe in, if you go to your superior, whether it's your supervisor or your manager, and you say, I don't like this, do you think we live in a society where that is seen as being insubordinate?
Standing up to your support,
just
your
addressing something like, hey, I don't like the fact that I'm working.
Then again, it's how,
It's how you address it, but
I
even
think so.
sometimes, even when you address it, how you address it, the automatic, even your parents.
You got a lot to
sometimes you come to your parents and you say certain things and they don't like it, and
because they feel as though you belong in this role and you should just adhere to that role.
Some parents are
and don't step outside the line.
So even your parents, you see it as coming off as insubordinate, and a lot of people don't feel
The comfort level is there.
They don't feel the urge to step up because they don't want to overstep the boundary. But you have in your way to speak up and speak out.
To be in a cultural environment regardless of where you are.
There's a famous quote that I actually like, which is called, always stand for something or fall for anything. So for me, again, it goes back to the comment that I made earlier, which is you tackle it, but you have to choose. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
So you think activism...
I'm not saying that you might not get the feedback or the response that you want at that time, but what I'm saying is that sometimes you could have that conversation and say, this happened a week ago, I didn't like it, and this is going to be a problem, and if not, then you start to escalate the matter rather than jump into social media and then kind of creating that slander and all that, and then that in itself causes a breakdown between the environment, especially if it's a working environment, or in terms of getting a possible positive outcome from a situation.
Sakian has something to say.
So
Sakian.
you feel like, activism on a whole, well, depending on your approach, is effective, especially in a society like St. Kitts?
No.
Because as
It
I
can be
understand, you come
received.
off as you being subordinate. Exactly.
It comes off as you being either rude, you're being... And I mean, a lot of persons don't know how to communicate, and that is also an issue. So their way of communicating what is an issue for them might come off to you as being, well, who you think he be?
Say one, say two, Some people know to communicate, but some people can't understand.
Honestly,
some people have problems with decoding.
The leadership style of the individual.
Right.
If
but we're not only even talking about.
No, but I mean, if you're more autocratic, then that's where a situation where you're more open to discussion, you're more open to change. You include you start, let's say we're talking about a business.
Autocratic.
It's democratic,
Democratic.
No, you can't.
No, autocratic is.
Autocratic is when you're straight.
Autocratic is strict.
Strict, yeah.
No, and then you got another one.
Laissez-faire is when you're
when you're laid back and lazy. Dictatorship is like, when
you give an ultimatum.
And then you got bureaucratic.
I know what I'm saying. Not autocratic. I think I mixed up the autocratic with another word.
Bureaucratic is what you mean. Bureaucratic is more
when they follow the
functional.
book. Yeah.
Is a functional thing.
In the bureaucratic, I mean.
You mean
What she mean?
Democratic, which means that they're more easier to assess and understand and hear you out.
I think I mixed the word, but essentially I was talking about the more leadership style that's more open to suggestions. We actually have those leaders here. So I feel as though it may depend on the leadership style of the individual. Who might be more open to hearing suggestions.
Would prefer a robot. As I like to say, even the parents them, they just want to come make sure the house clean or whatever. Like they want it to fit their standard without even considering yours.
It's true.
As in considering what you gotta do.
The moment you tell your mother or your father, like, hey, I had 2 exams and I had to study.
Yeah,
they want to hear that. They
yeah.
want to hear why you ain't wash up the dishes. And in the moment you gotta say, well, it's because. And then they completely shut you out.
It's like ain't valid. Your reasoning ain't valid.
And I think from that, as a child, socialization again plays a big part, because that way you're not really enabled to vocalize how you feel, because you're already chastised for even speaking up and speaking out. You know, and I think that a lot of people in St. Kitts and Nevis, there's a lot of things that we see happening in St. Kitts and Nevis, but we're not vocal about it. We're not able to stand up and stand out and be an activist for a particular thing that we don't like. I am very vocal about certain things that I don't like, and a lot of people may not agree, but that doesn't change how I feel about it.
To what extent do you take your vocality though?
I don't go out on the streets and protest.
We're not really protesting, but certain things that you are bothered by. Have you ever felt the need? How have you ever done anything about it besides just maybe speaking to a colleague or a friend? I have
on a small scale, but it's not enough to make a change, and I'm going to admit to that. I have spoken, like, customer service is one thing. I don't like customer service, and I speak up and I speak out about it. I speak to a manager, I speak to the person directly and be very vocal. No, I'm serious, I've been very vocal about it. Or like something, I order something off a Best Buy, and they let me think, and I'm like, can I speak to a supervisor or manager, because like, you know, those things, because people just take it for granted, and you are afforded that right to speak up. You could be wrong, but you are afforded that right to say and act in what you believe in.
Okay, so you guys ready for the first example? Example of protest.
Before we go forward,
you have something to say? Before we go forward, you know, I like to Google, and I confused the word with autocratic for real. I just needed to confirm.
We told you.
So.
And what happened when you're Chinese?
We told you though.
I like Chinese.
Okay, Sakyam. So the first example we have of a recent protest on the island is the bus strike. The bus drivers strike caused by the East Line bus terminal. So there was an article posted on the Labour spokesman, and it basically, the reason for the bus strike was due to the fact that it is against the law for the bus drivers, when they're driving up the road, on the main road, etc., to pick up passengers. They were supposed to wait until they get to the bus terminal to load passengers and then head to the country. However, some bus drivers were doing that, accepting passengers while on the road, and as a result, the ones who were actually abiding by the law actually waited in the terminal, and they therefore passed 3 hours waiting, not having any passengers, because the ones who are not abiding by the law are taking all the passengers on the main road. And so the ones who are actually abiding by the law are now frustrated because the situation where they're losing, the article mentioned, you know, and it's true, they have their mortgages, because that's their way of life. They have their mortgages, they have, you want to pay the taxes, you want all the different responsibilities you could think of, and they're left at a disadvantage because they are the ones following the law. So they had this strike, and this strike actually came after a series of meetings, and in the end of the article, it wasn't made entirely clear if it happened before, but I think it happened after the last strike. They had the association of the bus drivers met with some members of cabinet, and they said that they basically, I guess they felt some sort of enlightenment based on the conversation. It was basically saying that they would have the police officers be more strict on the ticketing of the bus drivers who are picking up the passengers on the side of the road. And there's also a problem with the East Line bus terminal right now that needs to be fixed, so they're going to find an alternate location for the bus drivers to accept passengers in the meanwhile. So that's essentially what the article said. It seemed as though they got some sort of resolution. As I said, it seemed like based on the end, it seemed as though that was the resolution. I don't think it happened before, but that's what I gathered. So guys,
that was a mouthful.
That is a mouthful, but I mean.
So in summary, of the summary that you just tried to say.
I summarize it.
In summation of the summation.
In the summation.
No. My question, no.
You are saying that the bus drivers,
they had
there were some that
resolution.
who pick up on the side of the road and some who actually waiting in the bus terminal. And these people who wait in the bus terminal protested against what?
I feel, were you repeating it?
No, because
it was
a mouthful.
It
was a mouthful.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie.
Okay, it was a mouthful. I guess because I tried to sum up everything so you couldn't know what the article said.
Sum up at
Somebody summed it up. Why you were protesting? You didn't get the way the
because some were disenfranchised.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, Sakian. Wow, Sakian.
So what is the question now?
So my question now, this just bring the whole idea of activism and what's not taking an example of a protest that took place. So the question to you guys now is,
was their protest effective?
I mean, basically what he said, it was effective basically.
Media. I think I saw the live from Yanir's page where he was actually blocked in the bus stop
while trying to exit.
Were lined up on the main road and he couldn't get out. Right? He couldn't get out and he was there for quite some time.
Let me check the
and what was I gonna say? He was there for quite some time. But after the live, I saw that the bus people were actually getting ticketed. You know, because they're not supposed to park on the main road. So, do you guys think that was an effective way to bring about change?
No.
What do you think they should have done though? I mean, the bus stop has been built since 2018.
I mean,
and they're frustrated. They're saying that people are abusing the system, and I am at a loss.
I mean, I want to hear. Well, let's say he said no, he doesn't think that was an effective way to create change. I want to hear that, and then I'll chime in.
Okay.
Chime in. Yes, I said.
So let me contradict Ayana, right? So people do crimes every day. So because everybody do crimes and some people get away with it, that means we won't all go ahead and do crimes?
No.
No, I mean, she asked if that was the
Well,
I said that to say that we can't just condone the
illegality.
Correct.
But she
and
said
that does not also
the legality.
Were you asking if it was wrong, the protest in general?
The way they went about.
I don't think the approach was the right approach. I think that there is to the best of my knowledge, there's a board
but who do
for
it?
the buses and stuff like that, and they should have raised it that way. And then at least give it an option to be addressed within a timely manner before you just take.
Well, no,
but I feel like
before you're gone, the article answers that statement. I really gave you a mouthful because you guys clearly wasn't listening to me. They have spoken to the president of the board have spoken to one of the ministers already. The article actually named the name of the minister. So they tried that approach before they went into protesting,
and nothing changed.
And nothing changed. So that's the.
So then we can condone and support them going to the next best option.
Yeah, and I mean, it's left to see if it's really enforced, but I would say it was successful in a sense that they felt some enlightenment based on the conversation they had. The only how we know if it's going to really be a success is if these bus drivers are really ticketed when they break the law in the future. So now it's really to just observe if change really occurs.
It helped because it brought light to the situation. And I think
Correct.
when you're protesting, it is to bring light to the public of the situation that is at hand. And the fact that they lined up and this situation happened, we all know about it. We are able to sit here on this couch and talk about the fact that this situation has been happening since 2018. Nothing is coming about, and we're here to talk about it and actually spread the word about it. Even though that even though it might be an illegal way of going
about conducting business, correct?
Even the riots in America when George Floyd was thing, when they did the storm,
the looting and stuff like that.
I mean, the whole world knew about this situation. You know, so I'm not saying that protesting should be illegal, but I'm saying that.
But
protest.
Even so,
if it is that you have to protest.
Do you guys feel as though, being that the onus is on the bus driver, do you guys feel as though the passengers who actually try to flag them down and get on the bus
Are just as bad?
Well, no, they're definitely just as bad because they're not supposed to do it. But do you guys think the passengers as well as the bus driver should be ticketed? I mean, that's
a strong thing.
But you could flag the bus. I mean, the bus must stop.
Correct. I think a lot of the responsibility lies.
But even with the protest, sorry to cut you off, let's stop. But even with the protest, you're watching you don't know what's happening, and you're watching the line of buses park up there or whatever. What? I look cute, boy. But yeah, you watch the line of buses them there, right? So you stand like somebody that ain't really know what's going on. You see the line of buses them. They're gonna gain information on what's going on. So I feel like the protest, right? Okay. The protest should show you more information.
You know the bus them on strike, so you wanna what?
But you gotta go look news.
But at the same time,
more news.
But at the same time, Sakian, the onus of the passenger is on getting home. So the reality is that by them being on strike, it also affects their situation in terms of getting home.
Yeah. Sure,
you know what I mean? So for example, let's say that afternoon we all finish work 4 o'clock and we are walking up there to catch a 4 o'clock or 4:05 bus. And now all of a sudden we can't get home till 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock because of this protest or however long it lasts. It still changes the dynamics.
But what I show you, what I mean is like, Alistair, that the protest should give some sort of information on what's going on. Like the buses were just there parked up. Nobody had no sign saying
no plaque.
Yeah, like they could have got like something
to be more informative.
Exactly. So they could have notified people at the protest, be like, okay, the bus is gonna be there protesting at this time, whatever to this time. This is where we protest. I feel like it should have got more.
So you're saying it wasn't effective?
It was informative.
To the public to know what's happening.
To know what's happening.
I mean,
because the point
I will also add to what.
Just check the news articles and you went on the Labour spokesman and you were
where he all of their guard though.
He said on the day the protest is happening.
So you need to get some placard.
Exactly.
I would have liked to know what's happening.
Because people just see.
I will also add to what Sakian said, right? And I know from a health standpoint, the buses were one of those associations or business models in society that actually got a 40% reduction in salary due to the limitation of the amount of persons that they can carry, which also still plays a major role when you have a brand new bus that you're paying for, you have mortgage, like Ayana said, and all these other factors. And then it's still like, I'm trying to work with the protocol and work with the program, and then all of a sudden other persons there basically winging and cheating the system that's supposed to help all of us to balance.
But look at this now. Who doing it? Your fellow bus driver, innit? Your friend. So you gonna go snitch on your friend? And then they call you 6'9", and then they tell you he's a fraud. You're gonna go return me because I do it.
Like 0 to 100.
You see what I mean? So it's like when you really do it, you're gonna get chance time. And that's the same thing happened with me, you know. But when my time come, I talk.
Okay, and we getting into history, but I want to read a comment. So Shayla, she said she actually disagrees with the panel, I would say, because she says I think there's a way to do things. Well, not really disagrees, but I think they acted ignorantly when it came to the protest. They shouldn't have blocked the exit. So that's Shayla's input, and she said, I do understand their, however, I do understand their frustration. We have
Are you friend? Are you? Oh, yeah, no friend.
But
it's a viewer.
It's a viewer.
Any friend of them one? I don't.
I think it's very good that our friend supporters just saying.
Me against it.
I think we could jump into the other hot protest of that happened in the recent times.
On the topic of
protesting. I'll allow Sakian to give us
a video.
Do we have a video?
Yeah, we have a
video.
video.
So we're gonna play the video first, and then Sakian will brief us, as you know, as a little bit more inside information.
Youth. Call me youth. Okay.
Several students at the Clarence Fitzroy Brand College held a protest at the college on 12 February with claims that the CFBC president has suspended a student without reason. According to the students, CFBC President Dr. Jacqueline Austin suspended a student without just cause and fired a staff assistant in the student body elections campaigns.
The president has been doing what she wanted. She actually fired a person who was voting for, campaigning for us. On Monday or Tuesday, she actually suspended my cousin because he stood up and talked to her, and also she didn't file accusations versus friend of us. How was that, Miss Fox?
The student president said a letter of complaint was sent to the CFBC board, but they had received no response. When SK Newsline contacted CFBC President Dr. Jacqueline Austin regarding the claims of the student protesters, her only response was that the matter will be investigated. At the start of the protest, a CFBC official who refused to identify himself unsuccessfully attempted to remove the students from the campus. Glenn Bart, SK Newsline.
And we're back. Yeah, man, we're back. So, the whole thing what's going on at CFBC, it started way back in 2020 after my team. Yeah, this they bring it over to the near. But I think this, what do you want to call it, animosity started around the SGA elections, Student Government Association, where I went for president and on the team stiff, students in full force. And during the whole yeah, we stiff. Man, we're not done. No, go ahead. So yeah. So during this whole election process, my team and I, we recognized some irregularities, meaning some things that wasn't in alignment with the constitution that governs the SGA. So as we have the right to, we highlighted some of these irregularities. One of the irregularities being interference from a member of staff in the whole election process. Because, I mean, you being a member of staff directly associated with student services, during the whole election process, you should remain
involved in it.
Exactly. The most you should do is be a facilitator.
Right.
But you can't go out and actively campaign for a particular party.
You have to be neutral.
That alone, you can't tell me I'm talking more money.
No, you ain't talking.
Exactly.
You should be neutral.
So the fact that we highlight that, people see me as 6'9". People call me and my team latter, whatever we lie, XYZ. And I mean, it was apparent that this member of staff was going out and campaigning for the other party, and that in itself is wrong. And I mean, the problem, a lot of things happen in St. Kitts, as Ayana said, that we should talk about, but we normalize it. Everybody know what is really gone, the bad stuff. Yeah, but people nobody gonna come out. I actually ain't gonna be vocal, and I be vocal the right way. Because it's only recently we posted something, we being Team Stiff posted an article on social media. We skipped that. We follow the chain. First, we send an email to the president of the college, and then after the president forward whatever to the board or whatever. This is the article that we posted. Actually, it's a bit lengthy, so we just leave it up for a while and you take your time and read it. But it's basically saying on the grounds that we contest the results, as in the interference, and then okay. What happened was, Jolando.
Before you go forward, right? Just in case the audience has the wrong idea, I just wanted to make clear that he's on the board, not board. He's a part of the party, a part of the student body government for the opposing party. So the protest that you just saw, that is not the student body government that he is aligned with. Exactly. He's aligned with the other one. Okay. So in case you're thinking that that's their argument, it's not. It's the other party's argument. We'll jump into that after.
Exactly. So I'm just giving thanks for that, Jolando. And okay, during the whole election process, the first thing that the constitutions will in after you outline the process basically is that the candidates that want to vie for a position should register fortnight days before the election day. You understand? A member of the next team, right, that was there protesting, didn't register 14 days before the election day. So that in itself, how they could run for
so why weren't they allowed to,
exactly
to register
so that
anyways?
he mentioned the direct in the interview just now. They mentioned the director of student services, Ms. Fox, that allowed him to run after he didn't make the 2 weeks deadline basically. So that in itself was an issue, and we highlighted that. Anybody say anything I do wrong yet?
No.
We merely exercise the right because every student got a right to contest or to voice their opinion on any matter.
And if you find it wrong, speak up.
Speak up. Speak up. So it's like that come to the question now, like people shutting down activism like all the time. it's like you try to sound your voice and like people gonna quiet you down, people gonna be against you. So it's like it kind of discouraging in a society like this because think it's so small. You can't somebody call your name here in town. You need samples. You need so it's like you can't get away. It's like and my name defamed because in the articles they posted on the dog's CFBC page, defame my name and my party name. So people that really doesn't know, the first thing come to their mind was, oh well, these stiff people doing what they want or whatever. The president doing what she want.
But why would they say that? Why would they say that you doing what you want? What transpired for them to say that?
I mean, it's always
you're speaking up for what you
exactly. Nobody like law enforcement, yeah?
Nobody like law enforcement.
Nobody like law enforcement. I mean, me saying law enforcement don't shoot me sometimes, but it's like the main reason because people ain't like nobody. Exactly. No one likes to.
I know you're not aligned with the party for dog CFBC. What do you really do about the party?
Anyway, Mets. Mets.
Okay. I know you're not aligned with the party who showed on the protest video. But did they take any other sort of any other course of action in terms of
not to my knowledge, you know?
Or they went straight to the
they
protest?
Skip the
you see, you know what you did. You
exactly.
know, you went and you spoke and you sent your email and your letter. Did they go straight to the protest or?
Well, before anything, the first thing they did was created this fake Facebook page and then posted the videos. So that's the first thing.
In having a grievance.
We didn't have no email was sent to neither my team to say they got some grievance against us, or even the president after speaking with her, because I asked her and she said no email was sent to
real quick. So I guess victimization is a real thing at the college. Is this what people with little bit of power and authority do to people who are below them?
Yeah, they're going to figure grammatical errors.
Am I tired of hearing that this president is doing at CFBC? So Jadel Fentis, the student in the video, is circulating what was asked to stay home and not come to school. Moving on, let's see how it goes when the students don't show up for classes. Let's see how great the status would look in the news. So what are they protesting against?
What had happened was during my tenure as vice president, because I was vice president for a year under the same party, we worked with administration to build, everybody here in CFBC, right?
Yeah.
To fix up the study room. So now the study room look like a study lounge. You got in couches, AC.
Oh, nice.
And
that's something upstairs, right?
Downstairs, right there next to the common room.
So they got the hall to go outside in the parking lot and the opposite.
It will be on the right if you're coming up the steps.
Yeah.
Not up the steps, downstairs.
But you said on the right. Like
yes, which would be like what do you used to call it? The commons.
But next to the common room.
Okay.
Not the common room, but it's next to the common room.
Correct. And then there was a cafeteria close after.
Exactly. So they're fixed up in there, but ain't open as yet. So what happened was some students who were in there and they didn't have on the mask or whatever. And then the guard saw them and went to deal with the matter. Right? And then the president at the college probably saw what was happening or whatever, and then she went go deal with the situation basically. Firstly, India is not open. So from time in there you don't know.
Yeah.
So if they tell you must come out or whatever, why is a whole argument? Why is a discussion? It's not open, leave.
Yeah.
That's it. And they say, the president is using her power incorrectly and all that. So it's
like being asked to leave, the response was
negative.
Was all of this? You saw the
protests and arguments.
Yo.
Not just actually what happened.
Literally.
It was a snowball.
It was a snowball. It really wasn't. It really was. Don't deserve all this hype. And even the news line them. They reporting on the wrong set of things up CFBC, yeah? Because a lot of other things happening and they reporting that. They wanted to go up to see 5 children, let me say 10 max. 10 children protesting out of the 1,000.
What's going to happen when everybody stop gum glasses?
So you feel
10 people protesting, 1,000 people let's go CFBC, almost 1,000.
Based on the other issues that you feel that they should actually protest about, you feel you're at liberty to say or no? No, I mean not based on whatever, but just in general. You said that.
But it doesn't have to be specific.
No, I mean just mean in general. Like I would like to know.
He had a lot of things prior to especially before my tenure as vice president, because we did a lot actually, and our team represented the students fairly well, I might say. I must say. But it's used like, okay, he had this policy, right, where you needed 8 units to get an associate's degree. Right? They changed that.
Oh, really?
They changed it when you was registering for your subjects this year. They tell you sign this form to say you agree, or you know that you need 10 units now to get your
10.
associates.
Okay.
Something you didn't even know about that.
No.
And that's literally why we got in CFBC.
Yeah.
But the news reporters them in posting up this year, and this year affecting every student. Every student in ASGS especially. So like, where they be for that deal?
Yeah.
But 10 students out there with a sign that ain't got nothing about anything, just saying frig the system, we're gonna talk because we have.
Just to clarify too, I heard that someone got suspended indefinitely in the protest.
Because the person that was in the that was resisting to come out the study room, he probably got suspended.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I didn't see any official document to say he gets suspended. So it could be hearsay, but that is what was said. So we're going to just base off of that.
So we got a whole mouthful.
It's a whole bunch. It's a whole bunch.
There's a protest from Sakian's side where he had to clarify it as the opposition, where he's standing up for his right and saying, yo, these people should not be allowed to even be an opposition because they registered late, and he took it up to the higher powers, and he also went to social media, and there's also the other party who's protesting, saying like, yo, CFBC doing a lot of shit, dog. How effective is activism?
Exactly.
How effective do you think the situation is?
I feel like the conversation goes back to the beginning when we were speaking about the channels you take, whether or not you'll take a more passive approach before you take a more active approach, active extreme approach. And in this situation, honestly, based on what Sakian said, taking the more passive approach and his voice is actually being heard, it makes me wonder before the other students took it to the media in such a manner, if they actually took that approach,
the situation would have been a better outcome.
You know, my approach was so
if they would have been listened to.
Y'all realize that the news article ain't even had the Sakian's
this side of the story.
Exactly.
Correct. They only had that side of the story, so that goes.
And you know what's gonna happen? People gonna stay here and then say, "Oh, you're biased towards me."
No way.
And that's the same thing what happened with the president.
First of all,
logic.
First of all, I want to applaud you on your approach in dealing with the matter, and I want to applaud you on adopting the protocol and also knowing and selecting the appropriate channel and how you went about it. I think it really deserves an applaud, because I think that it could have been dealt with a lot different, and if they had adopted your style of dealing with it, the whole outcome of that whole situation
would have been a lot. You know, there is no SGA right now,
but not only that,
because of the contestation and the results, no one is represented.
We also spoke about how you act is based on the reaction you get, and based on what you said, based on the gentleman's disrespect towards the principal,
the president,
the president.
We're a primary school teacher, right?
The president. Based on how his action and her reaction, like it's just natural that he would have been met with
fight down.
Hostility.
Not fight down, but that sort of
hostility.
No, I mean from the president. Remember, he was I don't know if he was suspended.
But
remember that was the end result. I'm saying is that if it was more of a situation where okay, let's leave.
If nobody would have get suspended.
Which is why it caused the situation to escalate based on his approach.
Yeah, and
his or her approach.
It goes back to us thinking about our approach before
how we do things.
Like we have to really think about our course of action, and then we implement it.
As young people, we should definitely use the various channels if we want change.
Effectively.
Effective change. I mean, I don't think there ever been a time where there is no representative for the SJ now in March.
Yeah.
And not just in the SJ or not just in the college, but generally, there's a lot of things in terms of how you go about things.
Exactly.
And going about it the way we can have a...
So you take the chain of command, and if that doesn't work, then yes, you take it.
Then you escalate it.
Of course, you have to escalate it.
Yeah, as Sakian was saying, he think that the young people should take the right channels, but sometimes it could very well be unawareness or lack of education.
Not in this era, Jolando. I beg to differ.
Admittedly, I
With technology,
What I'm saying is that.
You ain't got no excuse.
I'm saying is that.
No excuse.
Maybe it is that. Maybe they were not. Look, even though they ran for student by the government, you took the time to go and learn
the Constitution.
The
You
you took the time to learn the Constitution, so you could have known that there was a loophole in what transpired. But
Jolando,
if you're not the party themselves, that's why I said it takes time for you to go out and
Jolando, we live in an information era.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'm supporting you, but I'm just saying that we live in an information era where you can conduct your own research. Everybody walks around right now in this world with a smartphone, and you have some level of internet access that you do your research before, and you make calculated risk and calculated decision before you get up and just
in this way, in the same video with the newsline, you know, he said the director of services is his friend. Yeah, you hear that? As in the person that policing.
He mentioned his cousin. How do you do that?
So it's like he said the director of student services is his friend, and Shane and he wants to say the director of student services couldn't be like, oh boy, you can't register. The director of student services couldn't have been farming on the Constitution.
You want the opposition?
Yeah, that's the president for Team Bets.
So we have a comment. It says, so Shayla, she says, the louder you get, the more of an impact you make. And she said they may be uninformed for true. And that's what I was saying. It's not a situation where
Jolando, every election, the director of student services, when they send out the email to say to register for the position, they send the Constitution and the guidelines.
I'm not disputing that, you know. I'm not even condoning it. I'm saying all of this is based on them choosing not to be informed.
Exactly.
So what I'm saying is that you took the time to read the Constitution, but I highly doubt that was done on the appendix. So I'm saying before you yourself go out and say, okay, well, I'm gonna get loud, I'm gonna be active, I'm gonna protest.
You have to make
really be logical, do research, be involved, and then you push forward.
Even so, right?
And also to consult, ask a question, or the person would have gone around and passed through this scheme. I mean, 9 times out of 10 in saying society, you have all the cousins who have passed through there, or you know somebody who would have advised you. The professors who work at the college would have been able to say, no, if you're going about it that way, then that won't get the positive impact or that kind of result that you're expecting.
That's crazy to see that the young people are protesting. I'm happy to see that there's a protest.
That's great.
But
the approach is wrong.
You have to do your research. You have to know what
before you carry anything to the public.
You have to understand where you are coming from. You have to weigh the pros and the cons and say, okay, this is something for me to go out, wear it on a placard and go out.
The same. I'm gonna take a little up a scale, right? It's just like the general election here in St. Kitts. We have the Constitution, right? You have these certain things. When you hear like even the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, and these persons in society talking about certain topics, it's because they're versed on the rules. Exactly. And that is why they can highlight it. Even to this week, they were in Parliament and they spoke about different things. But if you're not versed and you're not aware, then you can't talk.
Exactly.
You know,
so exactly what the Constitution said there. With the register 2 weeks before, you know, Section 8, Article 4 of the Constitution. Literally. It's craziness. It's craziness for you. I don't understand why all of this happening.
And it's a big thing, and it's sad to say that this is what is making the news.
This is what making the news?
This is the side.
Exactly.
This is the side of the story that is making the news.
They ain't talking about how students up the college overwhelmed with work. They ain't talking about how some lecturers up the college being lack of leniency. They ain't talking about how some students got real hard financially. They ain't talking about sometimes the library don't have enough computers, so must get funding for some computer. But they're talking about that's I don't understand. People so like propaganda and stupidness. And that's why my article didn't make it to a proper news, a big international or local news. Well, I'll show you because people like propaganda, people like in the article they got some grammatical errors. It's like I should have put some in mine so I could get some clout.
Just tell us that you want a street setting.